there. It's really windy outside, you guys, and I think I'm filming this in the noisiest time. So I apologize even before we get into the video. So anyways, welcome back. My name is Nomlindi and this is high school days, right? And today I'm going to talk about something that's quite important and something that I perceive to be kind of close to my heart. It sounds a bit weird, but it's a topic that I think is really important and we gloss over it so many times. And the topic is rest, right? Rest. And basically what I'm going to do is just tell you about the lessons and mistakes that I learned regarding rest, especially in high school, and just to tell you exactly what I took from that and how it's affected me now. Let's start all the way in grade 8, grade 9, and up until matric. I was a very, very busy student, right? I was an academic, and grade 8, I was already busy. I would, and not typical busy, like I was just busy. I would, as a normal academic, I was part of the top 10. So, of course, I had to focus on my academics and things, but I also had extramural activities, right? And above that, let me explain in detail. There was a stage in my life, grade 11, where this is what my day would look like. I would wake up and I would wake up at 6, which is a bit late for some people, but that's the time that I would wake up. I would wake up at 6, I would be ready at 7, and the transport would come fetch me. I would go through my academic day. It ended at 2. From there, I would go to a sport, right? I would go to a sport. It ended at around 4. From 5, I had choir until 7, right? And that was twice a week. I would get home, shower, shower, eat, and start doing my homework at around 8 or 9. Depending on whether I had assignments or projects, then I would sleep usually past midnight, right? Usually past midnight would be when I would sleep. When COVID hit during matric, I my sleeping cycle just went haywire. So there was literally a day I remember. I worked throughout the night. I slept at around 6 a.m., 6:30, and woke up at 3 in the afternoon. And this is just a part of it, guys. I was so busy that at extramural activities, I would leave while I was in one extramural activity to go to another extramural activity and come back and like resume that extramural activity that I had left. Like basically that's what would happen. I would be at softball. Softball started at 2:30. At 3 I had a piano lesson, so I would run to the piano lesson, and then after the play, um yeah, after playing, I would come back and I would, netball, or I think it was during netball, and resume fitness, right? And it was at that time in my life, right? It seemed like, wow, I have all these dreams, I have all these goals. And so this is just hard work. This is just me putting in the hard work that is required in order for these dreams and these goals to be achieved, right? That's what I thought of it. That's how I perceived it to be. And on the outside, right? On the outside, when academics, or if you're in high school right now and you're putting in this amount of work, people will give you a round of applause. People will go, wow, look, you're so dedicated, you're putting in all this hard work and you will yield the results. And yes, that is true, but at what cost? Right? At what cost? What have you sacrificed? That can be done in a healthy way. I know people who achieved a lot in high school, but they kept it healthy. They prioritized their health. They would sleep for 8 hours. They would just ensure that they were healthy, that they were still having social interaction. And not to say that I wasn't, but I sacrificed a lot of sleep. I think that was the cost that I paid, was that I wasn't allowing myself rest. I wasn't allowing myself to rest. There was always something going on, always. Even in my mind, there was just always something going on. And yes, people tried to warn me. People tried to warn me. I remember someone saying, "Hey, look, you need to chill. Basically, you need to chill." And I was like, "No." And basically, this mindset of, but who's gonna, I have dreams, I have goals. Just because y'all are slow, just because you guys are chilling, doesn't mean that I should chill. I need to work. I'm gonna be successful or whatever. I wasn't saying it like that, but that was it. And again, usually when we see students like this, students who are go-getters, we are in awe, we are celebrating them, we are clapping for them, we are like, yes, they're going to be successful. Again, at what cost? What is that person sacrificing of themselves in order to be achieving that much, right? Little did I know that at the time, all that hard work was actually a coping mechanism. It was a coping mechanism to cope with other things that were going on in my life. And so I used work. I used, just, if there's ever something wrong, I was just, this is work. This is because work is the one aspect of my life that I felt like I could control. So if I can just work, then all those other things, I just stuff it in there, and all those things ultimately come out, right? So if you're using something as a coping mechanism, those things that you are avoiding eventually come out. But I carried those habits into university. So I arrived in university and it was still COVID. We were still mostly doing online learning, and I carried on those all nighters and sleeping during the. I remember waking up at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and guys, your body isn't used to it, because even if you wake up in the afternoon, you're exhausted, right? And I would wake up and I'd be tired, and I would study throughout the night, and then again, it was a cycle that would repeat itself over and over again. And I just reached a point where, honestly, I was so unhealthy. And it doesn't have to be an external, visible, um like just not being healthy. It was more just this tiredness, this exhaustion almost. And I then, this year, second year, third year, is when I started to really change my habits, to prioritize sleep, to prioritize mental health, to just prioritize being healthy and not chasing so much, and more resting, right? And I'm basically going to frame the lessons that I took from that experience into three main tips, into three main lessons that I learned, right? The first thing is, you are not a machine. You are not meant to operate like a machine. You are not meant to expect yourself to go, go, go all the time. Some of us have this expectation that we are not meant to be to get tired. You study, and you're like, no, I'm going to study for 7 hours straight. No, no, you are a human being. You cannot expect yourself to produce the same, at the same pace as a machine. And it's good to have dreams, it's good to have aims. I just feel as if maybe sometimes we are rushing, we are running, and there's this impatience of, I need to work hard as I can right now, as quick as I can right now, in order to achieve results now. And it's still something that I struggle with, because I also feel like sometimes I'm just running in my life and I don't have enough patience. But I need to learn to slow down, chill. It can be achieved, it doesn't have to be achieved now. And that was the first lesson that I learned, is you are not a machine. You are not a machine. You cannot expect to go that hard, that fast, and it not have any consequences. Which leads me to my second point, which is, you have limitations. You have limitations because you are a human being. And these sound really simple, these sound really obvious. But sometimes we expect so much from ourselves that these things aren't obvious, right? And we forget them. We have limitations. And these are basic things. You need 8 hours of sleep. right? Some people differ 6 to 8 hours of sleep. That is not a suggestion that you can just not sleep. It is a requirement in order for your human body to function as well as it should. You need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. That is I guess, a limitation, right? If you don't get that, you're going to pay for it in some way or another. Either the next day, completely exhausted, completely exhausted. And this is a lesson about all nighters that I learned that I'll put in a separate video about tips on how to rest. But it's just you have limitations, right? And another thing is that your limitations may not be the same as someone else's limitations. Or maybe I shouldn't call it limitations. It's special, uh just the way in which we are uniquely designed to work, right? Is that some people can study for 2 hours straight. 2 hours straight, they can just go for it, right? Some people require 6 hours of sleep and then they wake up, right? They are refreshed, they're like, wow, that was good sleep. But you may be like, actually, I don't feel fully rested until I have 7 hours of sleep. I don't feel fully rested until I have 8 hours of sleep. And I'm that kind of person who needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And sometimes I feel like it's unfair because I like the person who's refreshed after 6 hours of sleep, and I go, well, you have additional study time, that means. But that's just something that we are uniquely, we are unique that way, which is why it's so important to be self aware about your limitations. What can my body take, and what can my body not take? Others, we cannot study more than 30 minutes without getting distracted and start making toys with papers or whatever. We start daydreaming about food and about the love of our lives we haven't met yet, or things, just random stuff, right? We start to just, our minds start to go on a frolic of its own. And know that about yourself. For example, I know that in the morning I study really well. In the evening I study really well. Between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. something happens. Something happens. I don't know what happens, but I'm very restless, right? I'm very restless. I'm like, no, I'm gonna study, and I'm just like, well, especially if I've studied all morning and then the afternoon hits and I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just, nope. I can resume at 7 again, right? So know those things, is that we have different limitations. Other people, I don't know, they can just maybe go without sleeping and they're fine. I actually don't believe that. I really don't believe that. But they cope better, and you go without sleep and it's just not working. The next day you are, no, you know. So know your limitations. Know that just because something else works for someone else, or and it doesn't work for you, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Again, we are uniquely designed. But yeah, and then this leads to my third point, which is so important, is that um there will be consequences. I feel so bad, is I wrote you, it will catch up with you, which means, and this is a lesson that I had to learn, is if I treated myself like a machine, I did not recognize my limitations, and I paid for it. And the consequences may not happen when you are busy doing whatever you're doing. When I was in high school, I could go, right? I could go. I look back, I was like, woo. It was only 2, 3 years later when my body starts, like, I start having like health stuff. And I was never really someone who had like physical health issues. And suddenly it's like, well, now you do. It's and at the moment, like I said, it might not be prevalent. You might think, no, I'm fine. And then 2, 3 years down the line, for some people, just like we have different limitations, some people it takes longer to catch up with them. Some people it's 15 years, some people it's 40 years, some people it's 1 year. That if you live a certain lifestyle, right? If you live a certain lifestyle that is against your own human body and against and above your limitations, if you go long enough, it will catch up with you. And it feels, it sounds like like so bad. Like, I'm not, hoping that this will happen to you. In fact, I hope that it doesn't. You might be in high school right now, and I was in high school, and I wasn't resting, and I wasn't sleeping enough, and I was just going, and I was just pushing myself above what my body could handle. And at the time it seemed okay. At the time the achievements were coming. At the time, like, I was like, look, I'm fine. This is just how I work. This is just how I operate. And second year varsity came, and it was like, no, actually, this is now what? This is the accumulation of all the things that you have done to your body. And now the consequences are being given out. Again, I hope it doesn't happen to you. I really, really do. But biologically, if you push the body beyond its limits hard enough, then your body will remind you that it's not a machine and that it does not deserve to be treated as such. Treat yourself with respect, and resting is a part of treating yourself with the love, the care, and the nurturing that you need. You need, firstly, and that your body desires, is rest. Rest, guys. Um, Rest. It is a necessity. So yeah, I just really, really needed to, like, say, just talk about this topic. I really just needed to talk about it because, again, I was in high school, I pushed myself too hard. And it's, yes, we have dreams, yes, you have goals, you have goals to be the best of the best, and people don't understand the extent of your dreams. And your dreams are to surpass other people, to surpass other famous people, to be better than Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. And those are admirable. At the same time, you cannot um achieve that at the cost of yourself. You cannot reach there, cross the finish line, and then collapse because you have denied your body the rest that it needs, and so you cannot even enjoy the fruits of your labor. All right. Yeah, I guess that's really all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for listening. If you're still around, thank you so much for listening. um yeah, just type in the comments below your perspective about just that balance of, yes, having dreams, having aspirations, at the same time giving yourself time to rest and to recuperate and to still enjoy time with family and friends, socialize, have relationships, all those things. Yeah. Anyways, I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Until we meet again, please take care of yourself, and please work hard and rest hard.